Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. It is my pleasure to introduce Shannon Sullivan from Hope Loves Company. Shannon joined Hope Loves Company as Executive Director in June 2022, after 5 years of volunteering with the organization. Shannon is in charge of overseeing all aspects of Hope Loves Company, including the administration, programs, strategic planning, fundraising, brand development and maintenance, marketing, and community outreach. Shannon has spent the last 11 years providing resources, services, and support to those living with ALS and their families. Prior to her role with HLC, Shannon worked with the ALS Association in the Massachusetts chapter for 8 years as their care services manager. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being with us today. And just a note to everyone, if you have any questions or comments, you can write them in the Q&A box and we will address them at the end of the presentation. Okay, Shannon, take it away.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you, the ALS Association Greater New York chapter, for having us today. Let me share my screen. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about Hope Loves Company. So some of these photos here that you see are actually from our camps. We host camps across the country, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about those camps and a little bit about our programs today. So our mission at Hope Loves Company is we are the only nonprofit in the US dedicated to providing both emotional and educational support to children and young adults who have or had a loved one battling ALS. So if you had noticed, as Chris had introduced me, the person in the front of this boat is actually me as a volunteer. So I volunteered for this camp for 5 years prior to me starting in the executive director role, and truly loved what we do, truly enjoyed spending time with the kids and providing that service. So as long as ALS exists, children need Hope Loves Company, and Hope Loves Company needs you. So to talk to you a little bit about Hope Loves Company, Jody O'Donnell Ames founded HLC after she realized that the lack of resources available to her children, who all lost a parent to ALS before the age of 12. She wanted to help the children like her own who are affected by ALS. They did not have great support until Jody paved the way with HLC. All of our programs are free to children ages 6 to 21 who have or had a loved one with ALS. There is no other nonprofit that does what we do. Hope Loves Company is unique in its dedication to supporting our families, which we hope to inspire these children to live their best lives while facing the daunting task of being a caregiver of a loved one with ALS through our in-person and virtual programming. Since 2012, we've grown to a nationwide nonprofit. Our premier program, Camp HLC, features 6 in-person camps across the country and 1 virtual camp every year. We intend to expand to additional locations in the near future, hopefully on the West Coast. So to talk to you a little bit about the need, it's estimated that 85% of people living with ALS have children or grandchildren. These children are often providing full-time care to their loved ones. Many of these families are scared, isolated, and financially insecure. Consequently, children in those families feel isolated from their peers, the general population as well. Children are pressed into service as caregivers, frequently tasked with duties even most adults are unfamiliar with and uncomfortable performing. Their peers and even their adults in the lives outside of the home have little or no understanding about their situation. Children may feel isolated, depressed, angry, alone, withdrawn, sad, or even bullied by their peers. In addition, as a child may feel less like a child when he or she has more responsibilities in a home due to a sick parent. Parents are often at a loss of how to help their children cope with their loved one's diagnosis and may not know how to provide them additional support and education around this devastating disease that affects the entire family. HLC makes a positive impact in the lives of these families affected by ALS through our free camps, program services, and care packages. So I talked a little bit about some of the challenges faced by young caregivers. So accepting and adapting to change. There's a lot of change within the family that's going on at a variety of different times. So being able to accept that change and adapt to change may be really difficult for young children who are caregivers. They often are involved in more complex care tasks for shorter periods of time. They're navigating a variety of different losses, just like their primary caregiver, their parent, their grandparent, who is not living with ALS, who is the primary caregiver. They're navigating the loss of maybe their father is no longer able to throw a ball with them, or maybe that they have to do, in some of these photos, we see some children actually doing some tube feeds. And this is a reality of some of our young children who are caregivers. Many of them may struggle with school and can feel isolated by their peers. They don't know how to talk about ALS and they become tired of talking about it all the time with their children and their peers who might not know about what ALS is. They might feel uncomfortable inviting friends over because of the variety of different pieces of equipment that are over. You may see a change in mood, including depression and anxiety. Maybe going out to school and leaving their loved one at home gives them anxiety because they don't know if something's going to happen. One time I heard a child say, what's that beeping noise? If the beeping noise on my father's equipment, if that stops beeping, does that mean that he's no longer living? So these children have a lot of questions and are oftentimes not addressed. So this may impact their development of self. They might not be able to move forward in life. And so they might not want to be a kid just because they want to make sure that everything goes okay in the family. They have a lot of questions. And these are some things that we often, as caregivers, we don't actually address. And we just say, well, we don't want to talk about ALS with our child at this point in time. But sometimes that does a detriment because these children experience a lot and are knowledgeable and notice a lot of things that are happening and changing. So sometimes it's really good to have those conversations with the child. And as we all know, there is a very big financial instability with living with ALS. So this can impact a child maybe going off to college. And is this not possible because we are now dealing with this disease as a family? And the financial struggles that come with that. So to talk to you a little bit about Camp HLC, for these reasons and more, Camp HLC encourages positive mental health for these children and families that we serve. Through our guided support groups, workshops, which are led by professionals, and engagement with others who share in similar experiences. So Camp HLC is a free weekend retreat for children, young adults, and families affected by ALS. Camp HLC takes place in New Jersey, Indiana, Massachusetts, Illinois, Georgia, and California, and virtually. We had our virtual camp at the beginning of this year in March. These camps are available for children ages 6 to 21, although we are extending our age range now to 25 and I will acknowledge that in a little bit about our young adult programs that we are implementing this year. But Camp HLC gives the opportunity to connect with peers who are going through similar experiences. So in this photo, this is from Camp HLC in California last year, one of our largest camps last year. California is absolutely an amazing camp. So are all of the other ones, but California was one of our largest ones last year. We had several families living with ALS attend this camp as well. So that is a possibility to make this a more of a family trip as well. Promoting the development of healthy coping skills. So we have We have music therapy, art therapy, and yoga to really help develop those healthy, positive coping skills when the children are going through really tough times, to try and educate them about what they can do during the times where they're feeling stressed. They get to enjoy fun recreational activities, zip lining at the Massachusetts camp. We actually have zip lining at several of our camps. We have fishing, boating, we have archery, we have a lot of fun games that we do with the kids. It's really an opportunity for the kids to just be a kid for a weekend and share similar experiences with others in a safe and inclusive environment with counselors and peers. So like, as I said, we have trained counselors on staff, we have social workers, we have child life specialists there to be able to address some of the needs and questions that might come up surrounding around ALS. But this gives them an opportunity to just share with kids who get it. Just be able to be a kid and not have to explain themselves. These children that attend camp, they end up coming on Friday and they leave on Sunday with such a group of children who understand and get what they're going through. They exchange phone numbers, and it just gives them the opportunity to just be a kid and have fun for a weekend and not have to deal with those caregiving tasks. So if I've mentioned one of the camps that is not close to you, or you have to travel, or that travel is a hindrance to you, we do provide financial transportation assistance to families to get to all of our HLC programs. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if a camp is not close to you, even if you have to drive. We do reimburse for mileage. So we want to make sure that you and your family are able to attend our programs and Camp HLC. So don't hesitate to reach out to us, because we do have financial assistance to help get you there. So some of our programming goals is to diminish feelings of isolation and feeling of no one understands. So like I said at the beginning of the presentation, a lot of these kids go through having their peers not quite understand what they're going through. This gives them that opportunity to be just be, not have to explain themselves. They don't feel isolated or alone. Camp gives them an opportunity to just be with other kids who get it. It encourages new relationships with others who understand, creates an opportunity for dialogue, emotional expression, and validation, which is so important that sometimes these kids don't get that validation. And at these camps, they really, truly do. It creates awareness and development of coping skills and healthy habits. Like, as I mentioned, through our music therapy, art therapy, our group shares, and being able to just really work on some of those healthy coping skills that they might not have learned at this point in time. We are able to provide resources and educational tools on how to continue to develop those coping skills. We are able to provide them resources on what they can use at home if they're dealing with certain things. We provide a fun opportunity for new childhood memories. So throughout this process and throughout this family disease, it often robs the children of some childhood memories. So this is introducing new childhood memories to these kids and an opportunity for family bonding. Like I mentioned, we do have families that come to this camp as a family. I had a family come to Georgia camp, and they had mentioned that the reason why they came, the individual living with ALS, his wife, and their 3 kids came because this was an opportunity for them to do something together as a family, because he wasn't sure how much time he had left. So it gives that opportunity for family bonding during this time as well. So here are our dates for Camp HLC 2023. Our Newtown, New Jersey camp is next weekend. That sign up date has unfortunately passed. However, we do have a camp close to you in Hinsdale, Massachusetts in August. If you're not able to make any of those dates, please reach out to us. We may be able to get you to an additional camp this year through our financial transportation assistance. So here are some of the impacts on child's lives that we take surveys at the end of each camp. And my favorite quote was, "It was helpful because it showed me that we are not doing this alone. Until this camp, I had never met another kid affected by ALS. When I was down, I got multiple hugs and kind words. HLC gathered a group of strangers who are all experiencing the pain of ALS. We were brought together like a family and shown that we weren't alone. It became a safe space, a safe place for me as well for everyone. And we also have families that attend multiple camps every year. So this is my 4th camp, and we will continue to come to HLC. This program has helped my children open up about how they feel about their grandfather who suffers from ALS. So here are some photos from our in-person camps and our virtual camps. Just again, an opportunity for the kids to have fun, be with others who get it, and to really, truly open up and get to experience life for a weekend as a kid. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, camp happens once a year at our variety of different spaces. So we wanted to create additional programming for these kids. And because of the pandemic, we really had to shift. So we turned to virtual programming, and now Hope Loves Company provides services year-round through our virtual HLC Hangouts and meet and greets. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our Hangouts. They happen on a monthly basis. They're age-appropriate support groups facilitated by grief counselors, child life specialists, and mental health professionals. They meet for an hour a month, and it maybe to an hour and a half, provides a safe space for children, teens, and young adults affected by ALS to express their feelings and experiences. This is a great opportunity for the kids to get on once a month and connect with those kids that maybe they met at camp, or we have often kids that join our virtual Hangouts that have never been to any of our programmings, and get to meet kids across the country and just chat. We don't necessarily spend all of our time talking about ALS. We have our health, our facilitators who facilitate these programmings. They actually create an activity for the kids to do. So one of the last ones was creating a memory, thinking of a memory of their loved one, and including all of the 5 senses in that memory. So really getting them to think about those memories that they have with their loved one. And oftentimes it's just an opportunity for the kids to be silly and draw, and just, enjoy each other's space and each other's moments. We also do parent meet and greets. So for the parents who are wondering, how do I talk to my children about ALS, or my child is going through a lot of variety of different things, or I need to talk to another parent who's going through this. They're facilitated by our founder, Jody, and it offers an opportunity for adults to meet, share resources, and feel supported on a monthly basis. We are now introducing group speakers in these parent meet and greets, and are really excited about that aspect as well. So those are on a monthly basis. And anyone is open to this. These are free programs. So another huge hit of our programming is our Hugs of Hope care packages and the children's books that we offer. So this is our new and improved. You are all the first to see this. Our new and improved Hugs of Hope care packages that we send out across the US and internationally. These are free. Anyone can request one of these packages. It's an opportunity to send, we call it a hug from afar. So they're enclosed with an age appropriate gift, like a stuffed animal or a gift card, an HLC logo t-shirt, a personalized handwritten note card, an edible treat, a coping kit to help relieve stress and anxiety, an ALS journey stages resource, and an HLC brochure. So these, anyone can receive. You can sign up for them on our website. And it's just an opportunity for the kids to get a package sent with love and a hug from afar. In addition, these resources, these book resources, were written by our founder and co-founder's late wife, and Jody wrote The Stars That Shine, and our co-founder's late wife, Tina, wrote What Did You Learn Today? These are great resources for children to talk a little bit about ALS in an age appropriate manner. So mentioned that we do have programming for young adults. We have scholarships. So once a year, we do offer $1,000 scholarships. 2 of them are available, the Susan B. Anderson and Sarah E. Cooper. They're available to young adults affected by ALS across the country who have shown strength, character through volunteering and community service. So any young adults are able to apply for those scholarships. And our scholarship process is currently open until, I believe, the middle of June. So check out our website for more information on that. This year, I'm really excited to be offering a young adult retreat. It's a free 3-day weekend for teens and young adults between the ages of 18 and 25, September 7th through 10th this year at the barn at Gravity Hill in Titusville, New Jersey. This is a picture down below of the part of the barn at Gravity Hill. I'm really excited to work on our programming for young adults. We're expanding our age range because last year when I started, I noticed that our young adults were reaching out to us who are starting to age out of our 21 age that we serve and wanting support. So we're doing this as a pilot program. This is going to be open for 20 young adults. And we're really excited about this event. It's going to focus on self-care. And the kids are actually going to be on a farm, being able to harvest some of their own foods, work on healthy coping skills, and really developing some true self-care practices. And this year, new to us as well, we're having a Hope Leadership Council for teens and young adults that provides them an opportunity for more leadership and involvement to help inform Hope Loves Company about what they want to see in our programming. So all of that being said, how do we make sure that these young caregivers get the support that they need? Well, we should just start by having the conversation with them. Ask if they've already noticed changes happening. Find a time when you're doing something normal and not stressful to normalize the situation. It's important to have these conversations early in the diagnosis. We all know that Google searching can be a bad thing. That was one thing that when I was working directly with patients and caregivers myself, I said, don't Google search anything. Let me give you the resources. So we also want to say the same things to our kids. Acknowledge that they exist and that acknowledge that they're providing the care that they provide. Thank them for that. Acknowledge that they're doing a great job. Meet them where they're at. If they're not ready to talk about it, let them know that they can come to you when they are, and that it's okay to ask questions. I so often see these kids and they say, well, I'm scared to ask my mom and dad about something because they don't really want to tell me anything. And so be open to having these conversations with them, and it age appropriate, right? So that's always trying to find a balance between what's right to say and what's wrong to say. But if one of your child asks, well, why is dad now going from a walker to a wheelchair? Having those conversations about, well, this gives them the opportunity to rest a little bit more and conserve the energy. Just like we hear as caregivers, we hear from our physical therapists and occupational therapists, having those conversations with the kids about, well, this is going to give dad more of an opportunity to spend time with you because it will give him more energy. Having those age-appropriate conversations with the kids and letting them know that they're not alone in this. And that's really what this camp does. It allows them the opportunity to be with other kids and let them know that they're not alone in experiencing their experience, and allowing them to ask questions of, hey, I saw a woman using a computer with her eyes. What's that? And that really sparked a conversation at one of our camps between kids. And the kids were actually able to say, well, that's called an eye gaze machine. My dad has one. And normalizing it for these kids and making them know that it's okay to ask some of these questions, and it's okay to fear what's going on, and it's okay to just be with other kids who are going through the same thing that they are. So I want to give you a quick snapshot of, this is our impact from last year. To show you the true representation of Hope Loves Company. So we sent 134 Hugs of Hope care packages in 33 states plus Canada and Germany. Again, any child can receive these across the country once a year. We host 7 camp HLCs for 238 participants from 24 different states. We hosted 2 impact days, which are volunteer opportunities to help us package some of these Hugs of Hope care packages to send across the country. We facilitated 30 HLC hangouts and meet and greets with families across the country. We awarded 10 scholarships. Last year was the most that we awarded in scholarships. I'm really looking forward to awarding more in the near future. So again, where the stars are where our camps are held. So the 2 closest proximity of camps for you would be in Massachusetts and New Jersey. And again, please let us know if you're interested in attending either one of those camps. We can certainly help provide you transportation assistance to get there. Even if those camps don't work for you and those dates don't work for you, and want to make a family trip out of it, we again have helped a family last year who lived in Indiana get to California. So it is possible, and we really want to help you get there. If you're interested in volunteering, we are always looking for volunteers. If you're a social worker, a nurse, a physical therapist, an interested party, and just supporting young caregivers, Camp HLC depends on volunteers to make this a fun, safe, and a successful weekend. We're looking for volunteers who are nurturing, responsible, creative, and who can work effectively as part of our Camp HLC team. Whether you are volunteering your time, your skills, and attending a camp with your child, or you're in for a special treat. So our volunteer registration is here. We also have that on our website. I encourage you to please check that out. Some additional resources. Again, check out our website for some additional books that we have. Jody has co-written and edited an additional book, Someone I Love Has ALS. This is a great family caregiver guide. I've read it, and it's very, very useful for a parent who has a child living with, and you have a loved one living with ALS. Check out our YouTube channel for more on Camp HLC and our programs. We have some great videos on there that really talk about what Camp HLC is and the experience that our kids have at camp. And the ALS Association has some really good resources for families and children who have loved ones with ALS. I've put some photos down here at the bottom, and their website here is for youth education. So our favorite quote here is, "Children, after all, are not adults in the making. They are people whose current needs and rights and experiences must be taken seriously. Together, we can help share some hope with the children and young adults who have or had a loved one battling ALS. Again, as long as ALS exists, children need Hope Loves Company, and Hope Loves Company needs you." This picture on the side is one of my favorites. These 2 kids received one of our Hugs of Hope care packages with the teddy bears inside. So again, anyone can access those care packages across the country. So if you have any questions or would like to contact us, here is our information. I will be certain to share these slides with the ALS Association Greater New York chapter. Happy to provide any resources and supports. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We've got some really great content on our social media that talks about our programming and registration, and great information about when our upcoming events are happening. Please check out our website. We do have a video on our website that was taken from our New Jersey camp last year that really kind of express what Camp HLC is all about. But again, this is an opportunity for these kids to just meet others who are going through the same thing, who get it. There are a lot of families from the Greater New York chapter that are actually registered for our New Jersey camp, so I'm really excited to meet them. And it's a great opportunity to just, for the kids to be a kid. I am a big kid that weekend too, so it's an opportunity for them to just meet others and experience a great, fantastic family weekend. And with that, that is the end of my program. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Shannon. That was a fantastic presentation. And as you know, there's so little help for children out there going through this. So it's just the most important thing out there right now. I love this organization. And to everyone who's on, we do have a lot of children's materials at our office as well that I can send to you if you need. So let's see if I can get the questions. Okay, I know that you mentioned the closest locations are New Jersey and Massachusetts. Are there any plans for anything in New York in the near future?
I would love to expand to New York. It is one of my goals to continue to expand this organization. Again, our founder, Jody, in 2012 created this resource. She has an education background, and she created this out of the goodness of her heart because she recognized that there wasn't this type of support. So my role as executive director is to continue to expand and grow these camps as much as I can. So I would love to host a camp in the New York area. That is something that is on my radar. I grew up in upstate New York, so New York is one of my my hometowns. Upstate New York is one of my hometowns, but I would love to continue to grow. So our ultimate goal is to have have a camp within traveling distance of all of our families. And I know that that's a very large goal, but that is something that I do plan. I know in previous years, we've had some conversations with the upstate New York chapter about hosting a camp out in that area. I know that there's several accessible camps that we would want to look at. So the short answer of my long answer is yes, I would love to expand to New York. I can't tell you the date. As you can see from our map, a lot of our programs and services focus on the East Coast, and we only have that one camp out on the West Coast. So at this moment, I would like to put another camp out on the West Coast for those families to be able to provide additional support for those West Coast families. But in the near future, I would say probably in the next few years, yes, that we would certainly be able to have a camp in New York.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Another question is, where does the funding come from for all of these programs? I mean, it's an amazing thing that it's free.
That is a wonderful question. So all of our programs are free. None of our families have to pay for anything that they attend, that they come to, or that they receive. So our funding comes from supporters, sponsors. So the ALS Association National Office is a supporter of Hope Loves Company. We do have several additional supporters and sponsors. We do a lot of grant writing. So a lot of our funding does come from grants. But and all local, not government grants. So we do not receive any government grants. They're all national grants that we apply for. We have a staff of 3. So it is myself, Michelle, our media and fundraising specialist, and Linda, our program manager. So the 3 of us work really well together to try and garner additional funding. We are always looking for additional resources and supports. We are a very small nonprofit organization. So my goal is to increase that support as much as possible. And so the more funding and support that we have, the more camps that I can put in place and put throughout the US. So that is a goal of mine, to increase our sponsorship and our support and our grant funding. But that is really how we're funded, is through national grants and local donors and people who have been to our camps in the past, and our sponsors as well.
Wonderful. And another question was, you mentioned that the parents attend the camps with the children. So do the parents stay in the same place or do they go somewhere else while the kids are at the camp?
That's a really good question. So last year we started doing actual programming for the parents that come to camp so that they don't necessarily have to stay with their children the entire time. This is also a reprieve for them. So we, in a few of our camps, we've actually had enough parents and enough volunteers to be able to have a parent cabin. So the parents had their own cabin. They were able to connect with other parents throughout that whole entire weekend. They are welcome to stay at camp, or we do have some families that don't want to stay at camp and they actually stay at a local hotel. But we do have parents who come and they get to experience the camp with their children, but also receive additional programming. We do our parent meet and greets. We do a parent social at camp Saturday evening, and it gives the parents an opportunity to just share resources, connect with other parents who are going through the same thing. And it's kind of like an in-person support group for them. But we say to the parents that if you want to take a break and you want to take a nap, we've had parents come to camp and literally sleep the entire weekend because that was just an opportunity for them to someone else was taking care of their kids. Someone else was taking care of their loved one at home. And this gave them an opportunity to just have a relaxation weekend where they were just able to catch up on sleep. And sometimes that's what caregivers need.
Yes.
But we also give them the opportunity, if they want to join in on the programming that we do with their kids, they're more than welcome to do that as well. So, the short answer to your question is yes, parents can stay at camp. We do provide programming for them. And or they can certainly do what they want and just enjoy the time away in a nice secluded area. Massachusetts is a gorgeous campus. We usually get that the whole entire camp to ourselves, and it's an opportunity to just kind of relax if you'd like to.
And you may have already said this, but how many kids are in one weekend?
So we have at our camp in New Jersey next weekend, we have 40 children attending, which is the most that we have had in years past at this New Jersey camp. And we typically have about 20 parents that attend as well. So we have 20 volunteers. So we were looking at this whole entire camp between 80 and 90 people. And that's typically what we've been seeing. At the end of last year, we started seeing an increase because of our outreach to local communities and local ALS chapters about our resources. So typically there's somewhere between 60 and 80 people that are going to be at camp. So typically there's about 40 to 50 kids at every camp.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Are there ever any just day trips, or is it all a weekend thing? I lost you.
It is something that we were potentially going to do this year. Was a day out to give families an opportunity to get together. Unfortunately, it just wasn't in the cards for this year. But it is something that we had done in the past that I would really like to get going again, is doing those day trips where we're able to get the families together to just get together for a day outside of just the weekend opportunities.
Great. And I think there's just one more. Are the children divided between those who have lost a loved one and those who have a parent or grandparent or whoever living with ALS? Is that two separate groups, or are they together?
That's a great question. So we separate via age, but we don't separate via if somebody has passed away or somebody is living with ALS. It's very intriguing at these camps. Sometimes a child who has experienced a loss is able to help another child who's going through that experience to say, oh, well, this is what, you know, my grandfather went through this, and this is what was helpful for him. They're able to share those stories because they want to help. So we don't divide the groups. We actually see that these groups, the children actually share more who've lost a loved one, because they want to help what the other kid is going through. So
Right.
we had an individual at one of our group share or HLC Hangouts, our virtual HLC Hangouts, which we also do at camp. Somebody said, well, you know, we put my grandma on hospice this week. And another child said, well, what's hospice? And there was another child who lost a loved one and said, well, that is when you are able to get more support for your loved one when things become too difficult and things might be getting close. And so having that, and that just came organically from these children. We did not spur a conversation. So having these kids just be able to share their own experience with one another allowed them to say, oh, well, somebody else I know has been through this and has gotten through this. So that's another reason why we don't separate the groups, because then the kids are able to see, well, somebody else, their loved one has passed away, but they're still okay. They're still doing okay. And so it's a great opportunity for the kids to just share with one another.
And in the photos that you showed, they all look so happy. And it's just a great opportunity for them, like you've been saying, to just have some fun and be
Yep.
a kid.
Yeah.
And now this is from me. Did you say that the first little girl in that boat was you?
Yes. Yep.
Adorable. So adorable. And it's also very heartwarming to see how many of the kids who are now adults are volunteering for HLC. And
Absolutely.
it really is. And Jody knows how I feel. Like I said earlier, I can't say it enough. It's an amazing organization. Thank you for everything that you do. And if there are no other questions or comments, I guess we will close out. And really, thank you, Shannon. It was just a wonderful, wonderful seminar. And thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to share with your community. Please let me know if there's any families that want to attend, or if you all have questions. I'm happy to provide any kind of additional support and resources.
Great. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Take
And
care.
good luck next weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.